All right, bring in special guest, Mr. William Lawson or Alex Lawson, whichever one is spicy. You'll see him around every sideline all the time. He's been working with us for years now. My go-to guy. Now, I put him on special assignment, sent him to the Armwood Jesuit game. Uh, let's just go from the top, man. The atmosphere, was at Jesuit. The staffs know each other well. How was the atmosphere at Jesuit on game night?
It was definitely up there. Jesuit's always got a solid atmosphere. They always got good attendance. Probably one of the best student sections in the state. Um, and they were ready. They weren't taking Armwood lightly. Armwood wasn't taking them lightly. I talked to Coach Evan right before the game, and he said, this team's better than their record. Their 1-2 record. Um, they got that win against Wharton early in the season, and those next two losses were against some heavy hitters. Treasure Coast and Columbus, and those teams are always making deep playoff runs and having guys go to Division I, playing Power 5 football. So you can't really gauge them off of their record because they've run a gauntlet. Even in their preseason game, they played Jones, and Jones is they're dynamite as well. So Jesuit definitely was ready for it. They're always well coached, and it showed, especially late in the game. It definitely showed.
So now, opening kickoff, was the first quarter slow? How did it go? Take us through the first quarter.
First quarter was a little slow for Jesuit. Armwood kind of got off to a pretty quick start. They hit a deep pass. I think this might have been early second quarter, but they got off to a good start, hitting number 4 for a big deep pass. His speed was just insane. He was behind a couple of Jesuit defenders. As soon as he saw the ball in there, it was a whole nother gear. He turned it on and ran underneath the ball in stride for the touchdown. And I'm looking at some of the other people on the sideline going, he could be a problem for him going on in the game. And he was. They had another play going the other side of the field. Same thing. He hit another deep pass, wide open for a big touchdown. He just ran by the defense. But true Jesuit fashion, early on in the game they start off a bit slow. They have some miscues here and there, but go into the locker room at the half, come back out, it's all fixed, and Jesuit just comes in. Especially in that fourth quarter, they just held on to the football, ran the ball, got just super key clutch catches by Suarez, and especially that late one when he was in the fourth quarter when it's fourth and I think 22, and they're gonna go for it. Game's tied 21-21. Suarez catches a pass, makes like 7 or 8 Armwood Hawks miss, 32 yards for the score. I mean, yeah, it was special. This Willie Suarez kid, I'm talking to these people on the sideline going, how does this kid not have offers just like falling in? He was such a special player. He was their entire offense tonight. All 4 touchdowns came from Willie Suarez, either running the ball or catching the ball. And he's as electric as a receiver I've ever seen, covering high school football, doing pictures, doing videos. He's just so put together physically. He runs crisp routes. I mean, whatever college gets this kid is going to be super, super, super happy.
Suarez is a BCP camper, man, and he's been tearing it up. So,
Yeah.
What was Jesuit doing on the ground? Were they really effective with the run game at all? How were they up front?
They were successful enough.
Okay.
They weren't exactly they weren't hitting big long runs. They got they got some pretty good guys toting the rock for them, but Armwood's pretty good up the middle, and they were successful enough, especially late in the game. They were getting positive yards when they needed to, and they would sprinkle in the throws, making big plays. They were just making the plays when they had to. They were rushing, getting positive yards, running backs falling forward. never getting knocked back for losses and stuff like that. And that's what enabled them to really win this football game late and just keep the ball away from Armwood's offense.
How was the combination for Armwood, the combination of sophomore quarterback Ryan Brush and G. Pringle at running back? How was that combination offensively for Armwood against Jesuit?
It was not didn't quite affect the game as I thought it would. Now, Pringle made a really good play early. He gets through the line, gets into sort of the secondary of the defense, and then loses the ball, fumbles it in front of him. He keeps his eye on it. He picks it up and then almost scores, but he got tackled by, I think it was number 22, Cyrus from Jesuit. But he had his moments, but he wasn't quite as effective as I thought he would, especially coming off of that Venice performance. I thought he would be a little bit better, but he wasn't as successful as I thought he would be. Jesuit definitely surprised me how they held up in the middle, and I think it's because they're playing 51. Their left tackle, they're playing him a little bit more at defensive tackle to get a little bit of beef inside. And he's doing a good job of making them bounce it to those really athletic, safeties and linebackers that they got, and they were kind of hemming them in a little bit.
What was your impression of the sophomore quarterback Will Griffin for Jesuit? In a big game, big moment, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How was your impression of him?
Well, I think there were he had his moments. I think there's definitely moments where you go, oh yeah, this kid's definitely a sophomore. If you put pressure on him, he could, he's going to try to be, play that hero ball because he's got that really big arm, and he's going to try to, make plays that sometimes aren't there. But and other times he's when he's got time, he is super poised. And he was when he got time against Armwood, he was super poised. He was finding his receivers, and he can push the ball down the field. And he actually shows that Jesuits got they're not just those big 3 or big 4 receivers. They got a couple of younger guys that are out there as well. Number 8, number 6 caught some passes today, caught some pretty good passes today against on Friday, but. Yeah, he's like you said, he's got his moments. He's definitely someone who has a lot of growing to do, which means by the time he's a senior, he could be, one of the best we've ever seen, because he's good now. He's just a little inconsistent, relies a tad bit, trying to play hero ball. I think he needs to sort of do more of taking what the defense gives him, throw the ball away every now and then, don't take that sack, but. No, I think in this game he was actually quite poised. Didn't make a ton of those mistakes, but Armwood didn't really get a ton of pressure on him. I think the offensive line did a really good job of keeping those pass rushers off of him.
So rankings for us are going to drop this week at some point in time. And you've had Armwood, who's been really good up until this point, and even here they were good, right? Jesuit's record was kind of deceiving. They were 1-2 at the time. Now they're 2-2. Where the area, where would you drop both of those teams within the top 10? Would you put Jesuit top 5, Armwood top 5? Like, where would you drop both of those teams?
Honestly, I think while I do believe that Jesuit's record is a bit deceiving, I still think you can say that, but I say you still got to win the games. If you want people to rank you how you feel you're ranking, you got to win the football game. So I probably wouldn't go with Jesuit top 5 just yet. I want to see them get another win. They still got Tech on the way. I want to see them get that, maybe beat Tech, and then we could talk about them being top 5. I still would probably put Armwood probably 5 or 4, somewhere in that range, because I still think there's, this is a really, really good Armwood team. Really, really big offensive line. They run the ball as good as anybody in the state. And I think one of the things, kind of like with Jesuit, with Brush, his kid, he's another young guy. I mean, I think he's a sophomore as well. So depends on where they play. If they're at Lau Flag, I think Armwood can get him the second time. If it's back at Corral Memorial, it's tough to say. I think a team that's so well. I mean, both teams are really well coached. Don't get me wrong. Both teams are really well coached. But I think if they have to go to Loud Flag and play there, and they don't get the friendly confines, I think Armwood can get them, because Armwood at home, if they jump on you early like they did with Jesuit, at Jesuit, I think Armwood can run away with it at home. But no, I think Armwood could get him the second time. I think that game was a super close game. Jesuit really took over in that fourth quarter, but I think that's a super close game. Armwood makes a few more plays, they win that game. Maybe another touchdown, they win that game.
Well, that's good, man. Great breakdown from Lawson. Lawson's photo. Lawson, shout out all your socials, my man.
It's Lawson Photo on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, and Instagram. That's where I'm most active. Lawson_photo.
That was the breakdown from Alex Lawson. We're going to continue to talk about this Jesuit Armwood game, which is still the talk of the town. Another fantastic game. Derek, you broke down the film, and you have some key points from that game, man. Talk us through it.
All right, so Preston, I mean, you've asked me about this Jesuit versus Armwood game, and it was such a tremendous matchup. It just a great battle. I think the difference of this game honestly came down to third and fourth down conversions. As you watch this game, Jesuit at the right time, every single time it seemed, third down, whether it was third down and long or third down and short, they had plays designed perfectly for the situation. So we're going to run through this right here. Opening drive of the game. What you see is a fourth down. They're too close to punt. They're too far away to kick the field goal. So what they've got is they're in that go for it territory. So we've got a fourth down and 10. What I want you to do is we've got a two wide receiver set out to the left-hand side. They're stacked on top of each other right here. It's a little hard to see. What you got two wide receivers right here. You got a cornerback here and a cornerback here. But watch what they do here. They bring motion, and it just creates a little bit of confusion right off the bat. So they bring this motion right here, and then all of a sudden snap. And what do we have? We have a broken down play right here. Just a perfect play call. That just a fourth down conversion, 4th and 10, and the Jesuit coaching staff just dials up a perfect play. They bring the guy in motion, and it created a little bit of confusion right there. And we've got a wide open pass, and this leads to the opening score of the game. So Jesuit on a 4th down and 10 opens up 7-point lead right off the beginning of the game, first possession of the game. But what do great teams always do? And we've talked about this kid from week one, and to me, he's just one of the hidden gems of this area. Number 4 for Armwood, getting deep, taking that speed. And what we've got here is we've got an immediate answer on the next possession. Number 4 from 50 yards out. And watch the speed right there. The way that this kid separates on that is just, that's what FBS D1 programs come to Florida for. They come to Florida for just what you see right here on film. Look at that speed. So we've got a tie game, 7-7. Jesuit scores on the fourth down conversion. Armwood immediately answers with a touchdown pass to number 4. So what do we've got? We've got a 3rd down and 10. 3rd down, we've got Armwood pinning their ears back. You know that pass rush is coming. So what does Jesuit do? They've got a perfect play design. Watch this right tackle right here. This is so key. Watch the way he is able to establish position. Oh, this is so beautiful. Watch this. Look at that. He knows the quarterback is rolling to his right. So the right tackle right there, getting outside leverage. And what happens? We've got that running back. Watch the running back come down on the combination block. Perfect position. Look at that. That right there is well coached. They've got this backside pressure. The quarterback is rolling by design to his right. The running back drops down and takes on a chip on this edge guy with the right tackle. That is as good as it gets right there. Look at that. And that is both the right tackle and the right tackle and the running back understanding play design. And watch how they attack this. Look at that. That is perfect. Now, quarterback rolls out and it buys him enough time to set his feet and deliver the strike. What do we got? We've got another 3rd down conversion right there. Just a great, great play design. Now, If Armwood would have won this game, this would have been the game-changing play of the game right here. We've got this number 4 and number 23 right here on the near side cornerback. They come up and they make a stick right here. That ball pops out. Now you're thinking, all right, this is going to be a big momentum shift of the game. Well, what happens? The running back scoops the ball up and takes it down to the 2-yard line. Armwood ends up scoring on this possession. So that was a huge play. We've got number 4 coming up, making the stick, jarring the ball loose, and the running back picks it up, and they eventually score. This is a 14-7 game for Armwood at this point in the game. Now, what do we got? We have Jesuit on a 3rd down and 2. Again, a beautiful play design. Watch what happens here. We know Armwood is getting after that quarterback. So what do we have here? Pay attention to the quarterback here. We've got the play action, and we've got the boot. And what do we've got? We've got a 2.5-yard throw on a 3rd down and 2. They understood the situation here. The entire team, the quarterback, the route runner, everything right here was based on securing 2 yards on this 3rd and 2. And it was just done perfectly. Pay attention. We've got the bootleg. What I want you to see, watch the route that this wide receiver takes. We've got a beautiful route right past the 1st down marker right there. And this quarterback and that wide receiver, perfectly timed throw. Just an amazing play design at the high school level. And again, we've got a great play call here. Now, this next play is not a conversion, but what I want you to do, watch how they're using this motion man right here. And the linebacker here, safety, peels off the motion and goes on a blitz. Watch how this play design really opens up. As soon as the ball is handed off, I'm going to pause it. All right, so I've paused it. This right here, this is going to the house. As soon as you see this, we've got block here. We've got a block here. We've got a block here. We've got a block here. This is a perfectly designed play. This running back right here has an obvious lane right there. And this is a touchdown. As soon as the running back gets the ball, this was an obvious touchdown. Just a tremendous play design. We're going to watch it one more time. And I just want you to watch it open up as soon as the running back gets it. It is there. Great play call. And just a tremendous play. Now, what do we have here? We've got, all right, so this might have been the play of the game right here. Number 4 safety earlier had a big hit, jarred the ball loose. The Armwood running back was able to pick it up and advance it down to the goal line. They eventually score. But watch what happens here. We've got I believe Armwood's up at this point, or tie game. What we have here is we've got Armwood moving the ball down. Now they're in field goal range, getting down to the red zone, and what happens? Number 4 comes up, makes the hit, and we've got another fumble. This time, Jesuit is able to pick the ball up. So now Armwood is ahead at this point by 7 points. If they were able to score easy field goal or even a touchdown here, you're talking about going into halftime with a 10 to 14 point lead. And that is going to be tough to overcome. But what does Jesuit do? They follow up this turnover right here. They've got the ball deep in their own end. They convert 2 3rd down plays and eventually punt. But just running the clock out at the end of the first half and punting the ball away, pinning Armwood deep, Armwood was not able to get back down the field and pick up any points. So they go into the halftime with a lead. And what happens is they get the ball back the first series of the 3rd quarter. Now, to me, this was probably the play of the game. There were 2 in a row, but I focused on this one. On 3rd down and 2, number 10, Jesuit's linebacker came up and made a stop for no gain. All right? So what we have here is we've got a 4th down and 2. If Armwood is able to convert this, again, converting 3rd and 4th down was the difference in this game. If Armwood is able to convert this 4th down, what you have here is Armwood driving inside the 30 in the 3rd quarter with a lead with a 1st down. Now, just more points. So what happens here? Focus on the cornerback, all right? We got 4th down and 2. That cornerback right there, watch this break. Bam, right there. Gets his foot in the ground. Oh, that is just beautiful. Again, I'm going to back it up. Focus on that quarterback, that break, and right there. He makes a play on the ball, 2 inches away. If he were 2 inches further away, that's a completed pass on the 28-yard line, first down for Armwood, and the clock's going down the third quarter. I mean, just a tremendous play by number 5 right there. One of the plays of the game. Number 5, just a great play. Now, again, what do we have here? We've got I believe, a third down. Play design. Third down conversion. Watch this right here. Number 2 engages on this edge guy, but he doesn't stay there. He slips out into the route. A great play design. Watch this. He's on the block right there, right? Now, this linebacker actually picks it up, which is very impressive. But watch what happens here. That number 2 slides out and is open for a first down if the quarterback chooses him. But no, he's got a deep man open as well. Just a great play call. Quarterback throws a dart. The other thing that just a repeating theme in this game, the quarterback rolls by design away from this backside pressure. By design, rolls out. Number 2 gets a chip, but then slides out into the route. Just watch it again. Number 11. Moving the pocket away from pressure was so key in this game, and they did it to perfection. In the third down, again, look at this. We've got a third down and 7. And this quarterback rolls out, has 2 options. Could have hit number 2 or this deep man here. Picks up the deep man, and this is at the end of the third quarter. All right, so we've got a tie game in the third quarter. I'm sorry, we don't have a tie game yet. I believe they were still down at that point. Now, another great play of the game. I want you to focus on this right tackle. All right, this is a design deep pass. The quarterback is staying in the pocket. He's not rolling out. So this right tackle right here, it is so imperative that he is able to make this block on a big-time edge rusher. All right? Now watch him, how quick he gets in his pass set. There he goes. Sets up, anchors down. Look at that. Look at that. And the hand is right here. You're a foot away from having a batted down pass. We're going to watch this from the end zone copy right here. Just pay attention to this offensive lineman getting in his pass set and really doing a great job with this edge guy. Number 5 is a major talent in this area. Right tackle, it's a one-on-one battle. All right? And watch the quarterback. Watch the right tackle here, getting his pass set up, and look how close that is right there to a batted down pass. So, this pass protection, in my opinion, was one of the other unheralded plays of the game. If he does not do that, Jesuit does not complete that deep pass and eventually scoring the tying touchdown. So now, we are into the fourth quarter. We are fourth down right here. Fourth down and 22 to go. All right? Again, conversion. Watch this. Fourth down. Not only converted for a first down, but they end up scoring the touchdown, the go-ahead touchdown and the game-winning touchdown on this play. It is tie game up until this point. We're in the fourth quarter on a fourth down, and Jesuit was able to, every single time it seemed, convert third and fourth downs. And so hats off to the coaching staff at Jesuit. They really had play calls designed for the perfect situation. And it's just at the high school level to see that type of play design. And just what a great battle in the Bay Area. And it was a great game, Preston. I really enjoyed watching this on film.
Derek, man, we asked you to poke over into the Orlando area, and you found a kid over at Winter Park, Aaron Williams. What did you love about this kid?
Well, there's quite a few things. I mean, I like the way he can make throws at a bunch of different angles. He always keeps his eyes downfield looking to make the pass. He's very athletic, and he can run a lot more, but he's an athletic quarterback that really does like to keep his eyes downfield looking for the throwing option. The team's undefeated right now, and he's got a real nice delivery on the deep ball. He throws with good pace and arc, if you will. This kid's an athletic quarterback. And Preston, you know this as much as anyone. When college coaches call you or they call me looking for kids late, it's never quarterback. It's always I need a corner, I need a lineman, I need a running back. Quarterbacks, they fill up early on. So these colleges, they fill up almost before these senior seasons start. And you get some of these kids that come out of nowhere and really start putting it together as a senior, yet the FBS programs have already found their kid. So in the average recruiting class, you may get a college that signs 7 linemen, 4 or 5 DBs, 2 or 3 running backs, a bunch of wide receivers, but how many quarterbacks? 1, maybe 2, but they always find their guys early. So what happens is you've got these kids that are seniors as quarterbacks that develop, and they're sitting out there like this waiting to be had. I like this kid. We're going to take a look at him real quick. But I like what this kid does on film, Preston. Able to throw it at a bunch of different angles. And so we'll go ahead and watch him here. Just real nice touch on the deep pass right there. Again, eyes downfield, moving in the pocket. Eyes downfield, delivers a great pass right there.
Yeah, I love how he's playing with his eyes downfield, staying parallel with the line of scrimmage. Yep. Being an athlete when he needs to be one, and then being a distributor ultimately.
Yep. No, and you can see
Speaking of
in the
athletes,
pocket right there.
He's a 3-sport athlete. Looks like he's a 3-sport athlete. He's playing basketball and golf. But he's leading the state. I mean, he has 881 yards this year. He's actually attempted to make 93 passes. 73 of them were completed, and he only has 1 interception. Great stats.
Yeah, he's had a nice year. I think they're 4-0 right now, and again, eyes always in the backfield, just on that play right there. But there. Preston, when you ask me about kids, sometimes it's just a matter of what team I've looked at last. I spend my time looking at game film. So whichever team I just recently looked at, I mean, there's sleepers all over the state. It just, quarterback's one of those positions that if you're not committed early on, sometimes these kids like this just, they find themselves in the middle of their senior seasons. This kid's putting together a great year. So pulling up somewhere, and but you mentioned sleeper. Here's a quarterback out of the Orlando area right here, and certainly worth a look. So that's Aaron Williams out of Winter Park, and Winter Park on the year is 4-0. And
he right now on the season, let's say he beat Lake Nona on that win in Lake Nona, 244 yards, 1 TD. Comes back against Boone. They beat Boone 41-21. He throws for 260 and 4 TDs. And then it's 3 touchdowns after that. He's got 11 TDs on the season. 2024 quarterback out of Winter Park, Aaron Williams. The kid has been fantastic. He's almost completing 80% of his balls this year. So just the film and numbers match. And when the film and numbers match, man, it's a beautiful thing. Hey, it's team shout-out time. Flex, Matt, talk to us about a team that's really stood out to you so far this season.
You know what? We haven't really gotten to talk about Alonzo very much, but they're 5-0. There's only a couple teams in the Tampa area that's still undefeated, so that's something to say for themselves. They got a great little running back there. He's leading the state right now. We'll see some film with him. I'm starting to look at some of their next couple games. The pressure is gonna come on. They're gonna play a very strong Plant City and a very strong Riverview back to back. They're gonna have to end the season with Plant, and then they play Brandon. But I do think that they can win a couple of those games. They look really good this year. I'm actually super impressed. 5-0, man, is great.
Yeah, they're going to have to throw some haymakers against Plant City, who recently lost 42-40 in a shootout against Hillsborough. Plant City is going to be tough. Freaking Riverview is going to be a dogfight. And then at the end of October, like you said, they have Plant. Now, in between there, they got Strawberry Crest and Brandon, which on paper they should handle those. But do you think that they could run the table and really go undefeated with Plant City and Plant City, Plant, and Riverview on the schedule, or do you think you see them winning 2 out of 3 of those, maybe dropping 1?
Yeah, I think they can. If they can continue running it like they're doing, they might be able to get through some of these bigger teams. Like you said, Plant City has a great defense. Riverview has a great defense. But we saw against East Bay Review let up a lot of the rushing yards with Steve. So they're going to have to be strong with this running back here at Alonzo. But I do think if Alonzo can come in strong like they've been doing this whole season, they've been putting points up. So they beat Sickles. Sickles isn't anybody to blink an eye at either. They're a great little squad. So to beat them, looked like that was a pretty close game, 27-25. It set them up to really go and beat Lato pretty big. I think that they're pretty excited to have momentum. Plant City, they had a little loss last week. Against Hillsborough? It seemed like a pretty a battle. Hillsborough looks pretty strong this year as well. So I think Alonzo, if they can continue playing strong, they might be able to beat Plant City, Riverview, and Plant. But I think what you said is that they're probably going to win. They'll probably lose one of those games, in my opinion. But it's going to leave them with a great schedule to end the year with, and they'll probably make it into the playoffs as well.
Hey, Derek, so some kid on their team named Owen Beach, right? Don't judge a book by its cover, right? This kid is only averaging 195 yards per game, and he's towards the tops in the state in total rushing yards. Why has he been so successful?
Well, I mean, the kid's just a heck of a runner. I mean, he does really everything you need. He's very well balanced. Got really good vision. He blocks from the running back spot, which is very important. It's a combination. I tell you, their line. They've got one of the nastier offensive linemen. We talked about him a little bit. They've got an offensive lineman. They got a few, but number 70 over there is just a mean, nasty lineman. Great run blocker. And he and number 76 and some of these other kids are helping pave the way for Owen. They bring such a balance to the table because when Owen needs to make a play, he's going to make it. But when the quarterback needs to make a play, they've got a quarterback over there, Joseph Glennon, and they've got some skill kids with some FBS offers, number 10. They've got a handful of skill kids over there that make it work in the passing game too. This team is just very well balanced with lineman size, and I think that's what makes them work. And Owen Beach is just having a great year. He's the kind of kid that he's never going to have a down game. Does that make sense? He's just one of those kids that just every game, what you see is what you get. He's going to get in there. He's going to gain you 3 to 5 yards on the tough carries. And the next thing you know, he's running 40 down the sideline on a touchdown. So the kid really can do it all. They've been a fun team to watch all year. But yeah, I think that's how they do it.
All right, we bring a special guest in, senior wide receiver Willie Suarez, who has been on a tear this season. Jesuit Tigers pool within 500 now, 2-2 on the record, and special play by Mr. Suarez, who has been killing it. Willie, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on today.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So Armwood comes to your field. The coaching staffs know each other well. You've been killing this season. Tell us about the atmosphere before the game even started.
Yes, sir. The atmosphere before the game even started was just absolutely electric. It was a personal game because our coaches do have worked together in the past. So naturally, we lost to them last year, and we needed to get it back this year. Me personally, I was amped up for the game. I couldn't even sleep the night before. I was just ready to go, ready to get a W. We needed to win, so we got it done.
You're coming off of a Wharton game where you had 304 all-purpose yards, a Treasure Coast game where you had 253 all-purpose yards, and a Columbus game with 178 all-purpose yards, right? And you stay consistent with around 150, 160 all-purpose yards versus Armwood. What was your motivation this offseason that has been leading you to producing such numbers all over the field this season?
Absolutely. My motivation was just purely just no one having respect for me, to be honest with you. I feel like I'm a player that's completely underrated in Tampa and just in the nation in general. And I couldn't let that happen any longer. So all off season, I was working hard, running track, getting faster, getting stronger, put on about 15 pounds of muscle. And, last year, everyone thought I was a Ford. And this year, everyone knows I'm a Ferrari.
Yeah, I love it. I heard there was a 4th down and 22 play against Armwood. And your number gets called. Take us through that play. What quarter was it? What was the score? What were you thinking when coach was like, yeah, we're going for a tie game?
Yeah, I believe it was the fourth quarter, 4th and 20, I believe you said. And I thought we were just going to either punt it or kick a long field goal. But I think we were going to try to pin them within like the 10-yard line. But one of our coaches was like, man, screw it. Let's just give Willie the ball and see what he could do. So we ran a little like a trap play. And I got the ball. I hit the hole. There was a little bit of a hole. There was a lineman in the way, but I just quickly bounced it to the right, got around all the defensive players. I had a nice block from my boy Justin Thurman on the sideline, and I was able to cut it up for the touchdown.
All right. Now, Armwood, we happen to think is one of the best teams in the county. You guys have had a heck of a schedule, even going back to the preseason game. And a lot of folks in Hillsborough County don't know much about Treasure Coast and don't know much about Columbus. When you saw the schedule preseason, what were you thinking? Like, yo, this is crazy, or you like crazy excited because it was crazy?
The second one, of course. I was crazy excited just to have the opportunity to play some of those teams instead of just playing the regular Hillsborough County teams. We were able to play some good teams with some big names so that I could do something like this where or we as a team, we're able to present our skills, and just show the world that we are able to play with some of the bigger teams. And even though we came off a little slow, we learned from our mistakes and our losses, and we're just building up. And now we're going to get on a roll here, and we're going to make it to the playoffs, and we'll see what we do from there.
You got 8 receiving touchdowns this season, I believe, all from sophomore quarterback Will Griffin. How is that connection between you two?
Oh, it's great. Will's my boy. When he came in, it was a little bit rough. We were all trying to figure out what was going to happen there. But once we got situated, last season it wasn't exactly what we needed, but we worked all summer, throwing together, getting work done in the weight room together, hanging out together, and now we're on a roll. And as you can see, we're just putting up numbers, getting wins. So the team as a whole, not even just me, the whole receiver core, I feel like we've gelled together with Will, and we're on a roll now. So
it sounds like you guys have a nice little bond between that unit. Let's just say the receiver unit with the addition of the quarterback.
Yeah, I think it was mostly all of us as a group. Last year you could tell if you watched our games, we weren't all together. We didn't have 2 feet in. We were all 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So we brought it together. Started off with like small stuff like group chats, that kind of thing. But then we start hanging out together, working out together, throwing the ball after practice, all that kind of stuff. And now we're starting to bring it together, so we'll all be better as a team.
Looking at the schedule, it doesn't get much easier, right? So you got Lato, but then after Lato, you go Bishop Verot, you got Gaither, you got Tampa Tech, Hillsborough, and you end with your rival Tampa Catholic. Is it easy to look past this Lato game for the last 4 or 5 games of the season? Like, are you looking at the schedule like, yo, I can't wait to get to this game or that game? Do you have one circled?
We actually did talk about this as a team, because we have played some very difficult teams, and we're rolling into, I don't want to say necessarily a not as good team, but obviously they're not as good. So we are going to still work as hard in practice, and we're not going to take it lightly because it is a district game. And it is important that we go in there and handle business regardless of who they are or what name they have on their jerseys.
Yeah, absolutely. Dogfight with Tech last year. You guys got out with a win. And then you end the season with Tampa Catholic. Tampa Catholic finally gets your number. They finally get you last season. How was that feeling after that game?
Yeah, it was devastating. And me personally, or for the team in general, it was definitely devastating because we didn't want to be that team. We spoke about it all season. We want to be that team that lost the streak. And honestly, we ended up losing the streak, and it was just heartbreaking. But for me personally, I know I'm coming in this year, and I'm bringing the personal energy that I'm going to bring to the team, because last year, I don't know if you knew, I broke my collarbone that week in practice right before the TC game, and I wasn't able to play. And it was just heartbreaking watching my team go through that game and just knowing I couldn't do anything about it to help us win.
Last but not least, I want you to just talk to your fans, talk to your supporters, talk to some of these college coaches who may be watching this show. What do people not know about you that they should know?
Well, what they need to know about me is that I'm a dog, and I'm gonna work hard for whatever I need, whether it's scoring more touchdowns, whether it's blocking more, whether it's making sure my teammates are thriving. If teams start to hone in on me, there's dogs like S.J. Green, Bryson Goodwin, Champ Givens, all of us, man. We're all going to get the rock. We're all going to score, and I'm going to do my part for the team to make sure that we come out with W's. So, yeah. And for the college coaches out there, I'm presenting what I got. Turn on the tape, and you'll see what's up. That's all I'm going to say.
All right. We got 2 players to upgrade. It's almost been 5 weeks, and we've got 2 players that need to be upgraded. Derek, who are they?
All right, well, you've asked me for 2. What I've done is I'm going to bring up 2 athletes and then 2 linemen, just because we can never forget about those linemen. One kid we're just going to briefly hit on because we've talked about him previously, but he did make a play in this Jesuit game that I think does indicate he is a high-level player. Every week when you tune in and watch these kids on Saturday and even Sunday, these kids it's built on speed. A lot of these college teams are building their teams based on speed. Obviously, we watched what Miami Dolphins did yesterday based on speed. They're not focused on size as much as they are on speed. So I think what you're going to see is some of these colleges are going to start building their teams strictly based on speed and kind of overlook the height. You know, we kind of go up and down. One year everybody's looking for 6'4" wide receivers, and then the next year they don't care about that. They're looking for the speed. I think we're going to see a lot of teams based on what's going on right now start targeting speed, regardless of the height and weight situation. So we've talked about him before. Mackay out of Armwood, number 4, had a play against Jesuit that I really do think was a play that we can't – I mean, you just got to take note. And I think right now, Matt, I mean, what's this kid have on the tables in terms of offers?
He has Jackson State, Georgia State offers. I think he can get some bigger ones this year, the way he's performing.
So, yeah, Preston, you want an upgrade from me. To me, this kid's going to start popping some big-time offers. This play right here that we're looking at is just – and he's done this all year. I mean, he did this against Hillsborough when he went 55 yards. But this kid's been doing this all year long. Against Lakeland, he had a big play. Against Hillsborough, and then we just see this play against Jesuit. To me, he's one of the athletes that we can certainly upgrade. I think a Jackson State. Do you say Jacksonville or Jackson State, Matt?
Jackson State. Jackson State and Georgia State.
And 2, I mean, that's amazing offers. I just think this kid's got more offers that are going to be popping in based on his performance this year. So that's one. A second athlete, the kid out of Largo, we just evaluated his game film just the other day, and they've got a running back over there who's seen some snaps on defense and made plays on defense, makes plays in the kick return team, and just had a really good year so far. I would be curious at the end of the year what his stats look like, but he is a good-sized kid at 6 foot, 190-ish. We're going to watch some of this video right here, let this play. And Preston, I believe you've had this kid in some of your camps. Is that correct?
I'm not sure if he has been there, but Largo always sends a crap load of kids to us. But what I do like about this kid is he runs downhill. He is a very decisive runner. When he sees a hole, he hits it. He doesn't dance around a lot. Very good straight line speed, and he's got good vision. And when I say decisive, I mean he's not tiptoeing and playing around. When he puts his foot in the ground, he explodes. And if you know anything about Central Florida, Largo is a hub. They're like Walmart. You can get any type of athlete that you want in Largo. College coaches go hunting at Largo all the time. And this kid is a sleeper, Derek.
Yep. No, I agree. And he probably has nothing going on at all. Just a lot of things. I like to spend a lot of time, obviously, on kids that are lower division type of kids that have nothing going on at all. And this kid may have a lot of stuff going on. I don't know. But I'm just guessing based on the film review, he might be a little bit under the radar. Again, he played in limited snaps on defense and just hadn't had a ton of carries on offense. But when he does, he pops out on game film. So this was our second kid on, just second athlete to maybe take a look at.
All right, so now, Derek, like you got one of your linemen on the screen. So talk to us about this kid.
Okay, so while breaking down the Largo film, I couldn't help but notice this Robbie Medici kid is one pretty left tackle, and just watching a little film on him, his ability to pass protect with his size. I mean, if you were to build an offensive tackle, what you're looking at is for this type of body, and just a really good looking kid. Last year, maybe a little thin last year, but now as a senior, really starting to play. I mean, he's 6'6", 270-ish plus. He's got a great frame on him, and but I think he has maybe one or two lower level type of offers. But this is a kid right here, based on his height and weight in his film this year so far. I think this kid would be a kid that could pop a pretty high level, one or more offers at the FBS level coming up over the next few weeks. So Robbie Medici out of Boca Ciega. Tell me what you think, Preston. You've had this kid in your camp?
I've had this kid in camp, and he came to camp, and obviously he's a big, pretty drink of water. And I'm like, yo, where do you play ball at? He goes, he's at Boca. And he tells me that he started off offensive line, but just fast forward. So he comes to camp, and he's massive. And he doesn't have much D tackle experience. But the coaches put him in at D line to see what he could do. And he's really athletic. And just on another note, his video that I put out on our Instagram is our most watched video ever. It's in like 1 million views. It's something crazy. And it was just one clip of him at camp, and he's the biggest dude out there, and he makes a move, and it just went viral. So yeah, this kid, we're well aware of him, and he's doing some good things. Matt, anything that jumps out at you?
Yeah, man, he's a big kid. He's making those blocks. He's just setting them up, the offense up, man. Just really making that space for the quarterback to make the throws, opening up the holes for him. I mean, I like the size. You're absolutely right, man. He's like the epitome of what you would want in that position.
All right, so we've got another offensive lineman right here. I just love breaking down linemen. And this kid, we talked about Alonzo earlier, number 70 for Alonzo. Just go to the game and watch this kid finish his blocks. He runs guys into the sideline, as you can see right there. This kid is just mean and nasty. They brought him in limited action on the D line. He wrecks it. I mean, I like watching this kid on film, and this is why Alonzo is such a fun team to watch. Is not only can you watch the quarterback make play after play and O&B run, but this kid right here, just what a great offensive lineman for the high school level. And I think he'll be a kid. Again, a lot of these colleges are looking for offensive linemen late. These are the kind of kids we put them on right here.
No, absolutely. This O-line, man, he's making the blocks. He's opening up the holes for the rushing team. I mean, that's you got to give a lot of the credit to the running back, but he's making the blocks, and it's opening them up to get those rushing yards. For the team, they're actually sitting at 1,354 rushing yards for the season, which is actually really, really good. The quarterback, like you brought up, he's only a junior, but what I like about him, he's fast, but he's getting the time because his O-line is so deep. So, dominant. I mean, it's really hard for these really great defensive ends to get in there to tackle the quarterback. He's handing it off really, really fast. So the whole O-line is really making moves. I do like that Christopher that you brought up. It seems like he's a big part of that O-line, and he's really, really stepped up this year for his team. And that's going to give them that 5-0 record, man. He's doing a great job.
Offense gets a lot of the shine. They put up a lot of the points. They're a big reason why people go to the games, but the defense never gets enough attention. Right now, your top 5 defenses in the area. Matt, you're up. What you got?
All right. This is always tough, man, because it seems like Tampa just has some great defenses, all these teams. But I'm going to go with CDS. I like their defense. Tavoy Fegan, he's running the state with his interceptions. So I put them at number 1. I think Jesuit, man, after watching them against Armwood causing all those fumbles, and I put Jesuit at number 2, Armwood number 3, Berkeley Prep coming in and really dominating Tampa Catholic. I'm going to put their defense as 4, and Tempe Tech, man, they are looking great this year. So I'm going to put them as 5 as those are my top 5 defenses.
I would have never thought that Berkeley would beat Tampa Catholic the way that they did. When I was running through the scores and I saw that Tampa Catholic score versus Berkeley Prep, I was like, no way. Never, ever would have thought that Tampa Catholic and Berkeley Prep, that would have been the spread. However, speaking of Berkeley Prep, they're in my top 5. All right. I'm going in order. I'm going Lake Wells out of Polk County. They've been killing folks. Lake Wells, Edgewater's only allowed 60 points on the season. Lake Wells, Edgewater, Berkeley Prep at number 3. I'm going to have a toss-up. No, check that. Lake Wells, Edgewater, Berkeley Prep, Clearwater Central Catholic, and then I'm going Tampa Bay Tech tied at 5 with Sumner. And if anybody's out there that can make that Sumner Tampa Bay Tech game happen within the next couple years, I'd appreciate it out there. That's what needs to happen. They need Sumner versus Tech. Lake Wells has allowed 13 total points in 4 weeks of football. I don't care who you play. It's hard to do that. Lake Wells, defending state champions, their defense, number 1 soundly. So that's where I'm going. Cheat code players, guys that it just does not matter. They're guaranteed to make plays all the time. And our cheat code player this week is going to be LJ McCray out of Daytona Beach, Mainland. Derek, just take the mic, man, and let's run with this kid.
I mean, well, a lot of times when you say cheat code, we want to look at the running backs and wide receivers, and I totally get it. But seeing this big joker come off the edge, Preston, how big is he? I mean, it's 6'6".
6'6", man.
He is something else. So go ahead and pop on his video. I mean, Mainland has a tremendous history of producing players at all positions. One of the kids that I helped many years back, Leonard Williams, playing for the Giants right now. This kid is what was his weight? 6'6", 240-ish, 250.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, just unbelievable frame and size. He has a tremendous burst off the edge. He will close the gap in a hurry, uses his hands. I mean, just he really does all the things you need to see on film. I believe this team's undefeated so far. And again, Preston, I mean, what are your thoughts just looking at this kid?
I'm looking at his list of offers. Auburn, Florida, Florida State, Georgia, Miami. I mean, who else do you need once you have those? He's a 4-star on 247's page right now, 6'6", 260, class of 2024. They got him at a composite 95 rating. And I think this kid is a cheat code. He's just when he gets off the bus, like Mainland's going to win the game if he gets off the bus first, right? You see a kid this beautiful, and then when you line him up on the edge against a lot of these inferior offensive tackles in high school, like he's ridiculous. And Matt, you were talking to me about his numbers, man. Like he's doing twice the production from last season already, only 4 games in.
Yeah, the kid's he's doing great. It's, you hear a lot. You hear coaches say, go down in your locker room and try to get that basketball player and tell him to come play football. And this is like that story. The kid actually played basketball, but 6'6", man, he is just lined up there. And to be that fast at 265, man, this kid, you're going to be seeing him on Saturdays. Absolutely.
So last year, he had 17 tackles for losses, averaging 3 tackles per game, 44 total tackles last year as a junior. This year, only 3 games in, he's got 28 total tackles. He's averaging 9 tackles per game with 12 TFLs. That's 3 games in. And Derek, like we were saying off camera, bro, like this is on a Mainland team that's got dudes everywhere.
Right. Yeah. So, sometimes you'll get a dominant athlete on a non-dominant team, and linebackers a lot of times will have 150 tackles at the end of the year. But this kid is playing on a team that is just littered with talent. They got kids all over the place. And for him to just put up those numbers, and honestly, in Preston, this is why I watch game film. This kid, half the stuff he does on film doesn't even register as a stat. I mean, this kid is just killing double teams. His hands in the face of the passer all day long. So a lot of the stuff won't even show up on a stat line, but this kid on film is just really quite perfect to watch. And that's why he's definitely one of the cheat codes. Sure. So we got a running back just south of the Bay Area in Manatee County at Bayshore High School. Not traditionally a program lately that has produced a ton. But what we have here is we've got a running back that has put up, I'm not even sure the exact stats. He's probably over 1,000 yards so far on the year. He's probably around 12 touchdowns on the year. But he is just a fun kid to look at. Just a tremendous playmaker. Can score from distance. Very well balanced. Just always seems to get through the hole. Can make plays in the pass game, kick return. But he's a kid just south of us. I think last week we featured Pinellas County. We've popped up into Pasco. Just thought we'd get into Manatee County this week with a look at a record-setting running back at Bayshore. And he's having a big year. And this kid might push 2,000 yards this year on the season. So let's keep an eye on this kid, Jaden Judge. And so you tell me, you've seen a little bit of film on him. What do you think?
He low center of gravity. Obviously, he's a 5'7" kid, muscular. I like just his anticipation. It's just one of those factors. He just anticipates tackles very well, and he's got good downfield speed. When he gets in the open field, it's gonna be hard to tackle him. So this is Jaden Judd down at Bayshore, and we are around the bay in 1 minute, and we're out. Mailbag time. So we ask our Instagram followers to submit either a statement or a question, and we'll address the best one. So you guys know what time it is. We're going to end the show with a mailbag, as we always do. First one. The first one that came across is, what happened to those successful Bloomingdale teams from not too long ago, the 12-2 teams from Bloomingdale? Well, it's tough for a team like Bloomingdale to consistently have success because of the demographics. Okay, under Coach Max Warner and Jake Colson, who took over for Max Warner after he went to the college ranks, they just could not sustain the level of success with the type of kids that they were bringing into Bloomingdale. And I don't mean bringing in as in recruiting. I mean just bringing in those kind of kids that were transferring into the school. There was a 3-year run, 18, 19, 20, 2018, 2019, 2020, where Bloomingdale won 41 games. And that was kind of unheard of from a Bloomingdale team, because Bloomingdale has not had a level of success. So when those teams started winning double-digit games a season, like Bloomingdale was like the hottest team or the hottest program in the area. They were a second-round team, third-round team, and had some battles late in the season with Tempe Tech and Venice and those type of programs. And that was foreign territory from Bloomingdale. So it could be another cycle. Everything kind of goes in cycle. Bloomingdale had a successful cycle when they were running those 12-2 teams, 9-3 teams, a few years back, and right now they're struggling. It could last a little bit of time, especially with the kind of this transfer thing where kids can go where they want to go as long as they can get transportation and schools have availability. And the other problem is, remember, Bloomingdale is always maxed out. Okay, so as the rule states, kids are able to go to a school that they would like. Okay, as long as they can they can provide their own transportation to that school, and the school is not maxed out by population. Bloomingdale is always maxed out in population. Okay, so that right there is going to be hard for kids to transfer into Bloomingdale, or let's say talent a pool transferring into Bloomingdale, because they're always going to be maxed out. And then they're not going to have enough talent in those demographics in the Bloomingdale Valrico area to produce winning teams over and over again. Why? What happened to Bloomingdale? It's nothing like what really happened to them. It's just, for a program like that, it's hard to sustain that level of success. And it's not a knock on Bloomingdale. It's just the cycles.
We've had a few new schools popped up too in that time frame. These last couple of years, you had Sumner pop up, Newsome. They're fairly of a new school, so they're going to take some of those kids. Durant is not too far. They're going to take some of those kids. They've also had a coaching change recently. Their quarterback last year, Charles Coney, he got hurt early in the season, so they didn't really have him. This year, it's just been some super surprised to see, unfortunately, and their season does not get any easier. going to continue being strong. I hope they can squeeze out a couple wins just to kind of show face, but it's not looking good this year for B-Dale.
And you make a good point, because just within driving range, you're sitting around Durant, Newsom, Riverview's had a resurgence now. Spoto's not too far. East Bay's drivable. Plant City's down the road. So it's kind of hard, because if they did have a little talent pool, you've got 5-6 other schools that are kind of vying. And then Armwood, Armwood's within driving range. So now you have 5 or 6 schools that are vying for that bit of talent. So it's not a knock on Bloomingdale. It's just, with other teams around there having more success, it's a lot easier for kids. If they wanted an option to go to an out-of-district school, there would probably be another option for them to go to. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's fair to say. One good thing about Tampa as well, in this area, I should say, is we have a lot of little leagues. So at Bloomingdale, they're going to have to be a little patient, but I think in these next couple of years, they're going to start getting some of these 14-year-old freshmen getting in, and they're going to have to grow with the team. But there is some really great little league kids that will go into the high school level over these next couple of years. And I think knowing the area a little bit, I think some of those kids are going to go to Bloomingdale. And, you see these teams turn over in 1 or 2 years. So hopefully they can get some good recruits, get some kids in there to really help that team out.
That's what happens. All right, here we go. Next mailbag question is, now listen, before I ask the question, deservingly so, this next team is getting all kind of hype. Everybody's kind of been waiting on to play a team. They haven't played anybody. They haven't played this team. They haven't played that team. Well, Sumner did play a team this past weekend. They played Wharton. And Wharton over the last 3 to 4 seasons has been a very good team, a playoff team, a nearly double-digit win team in the last 4 years. Sumner demolished them like 40-14. It was something crazy. And I definitely thought it was going to be a good game, and it could have gone either way. When I was looking at score stream and I saw that score come across that Wharton can only produce 14 points against a highly talented Sumner team, and that Sumner produced 40-plus on a highly talented Wharton team, the question now is Sumner a state contender?
I'll go ahead and say I think they can make it to states. I mean, they have a really great looking team. They have their leader, their QB, Greg Smith. He really makes those kids move, man. They want to win. And that's really what it comes down to. They went down to Wharton. They were not playing any games. They knew that was one of their biggest games to really show, in their eyes, it's like they're on ESPN. They're ready to show the world what they can do. I know we talked about earlier, it will be fun, over the next couple, seasons, maybe to see them play Tech, maybe a Jesuit, maybe an Armwood. But they had their shot against Wharton and they blew it out of the water. 40-14 is incredible. I'm super proud of Sumner. They're becoming one of my favorite teams right now. Love watching them play. Friday night, they're going to play Durant. Durant's looking good. But I said a few weeks ago, I thought that Durant's undefeated season would come to an end against Sumner. Unfortunately, they did get beat by Plant City. Plant City's pretty solid. But Sumner, man, just every player I look at, it's just like, man, he's really good. He's really good. He's really good. Everybody is just really good on their team right now. I happen to know a couple of coaches. The coaches are just genuine guys as well. It seems like they've really got the team to buy into the program. And what's most impressive is that they've only been around 3 years. So to see this type of performance in a team that's been around for 3 years, I'm excited. I hope they continue to win. I hope they beat those northern regions and get down in the South and play maybe like a Columbus in the state championship. I'll definitely go to that game if they can get to that level. I think I can see them happening though.
Yeah, Preston, there's some great talent. Should they, they got to take care of business first. They got Durant. That's going to be a heck of a game this Friday night. Assuming that they could move, let's say that they were able to advance even into the next round. They're going up against, what are we looking at? Apopka, the Sanford Seminoles of the world. Lake Mary has one of the best young quarterbacks in the state. I mean, you're talking about some really talented programs, and that potentially could be some of the best matchups of the year down the road if that comes to fruition. I mean, seeing a team like Lake Mary against this program, or even the Apopkas of the Sanford Seminoles, man, that would be a heck of a challenge. That's some of the stuff we have to look forward to, however it plays out. But yeah, Sumner's been so impressive this year. This game come Friday night against Durant. It's just Durant's going to come in so well prepared. That's going to be a heck of a game. So we'll see what happens. And should they move on? There are some teams on the horizon that could really create. I'll give you an example. Lake Mary had a game earlier this year against Dr. Phillips, and they beat Dr. Phillips 76-60. I mean, is that even right? 70.
And Dr. Phillips is not like some made up school, some made up charter school. Dr. Phillips is a perennial type of power in Central Florida, and to beat Dr. Phillips by to put up 70 in Dr. Phillips is unreal.
Dude, 76-60. So anyway, those are some of the things come playoff times. I mean, it's gonna be an exciting time of the year. We still got a lot of football obviously left this year, but starting with Durant this coming Friday, that's gonna be one heck of a game. Can't wait to watch it.
All right, we appreciate everybody for watching this episode of the BCP Podcast, and until next time, we're out.
See you guys.